Parental resource workshops for our new student orientation program. And we are so excited to have you all here today to talk with some of our experts. We've compiled a panel of experts from across the university, and we are really stoked to be able to share some wisdom, answer some questions that you all might have, and help connect you to some resources for you and for your students. So as we can move forward, Olivia. If you hear me reference Olivia, she's just our man behind the curtain, helping us move through our slides today. So a brief overview of what we're looking to accomplish at tonight's workshop is we're going to kind of go over what types of things you can expect as your student transitions to college life at Seton Hall University, who we are within the Division of Student Services, and some of the things that we do, how you as a parent, family, or support member can support your student during this change and this time, and also review some of the important contacts and departments that you can utilize in supporting your student and connecting them to some of our on-campus resources. So our experts today, we have representatives from across the division, and I'm really excited to be able to introduce all of them to you. They're going to just kind of share their name, as well as their functional area and what they do to work with your student when they come to Seton Hall University. So like I mentioned, my name is Colleen Dalaval. I'm the Associate Dean for Student Engagement here at Seton Hall. I oversee the co-curricular elements, so student involvement, student engagement here at the university. Also, fun fact, happened to be a two-time alum. And I'm excited to answer any questions that y'all might have. Next up on our panel of experts is Dr. Monica Burnett. Dr. Burnett, would you mind introducing yourself?
Sure. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Seton Hall. My name is Monica Burnett. I'm the Associate Vice President and Chief of Staff in the Division of Student Services. And I'll share a little bit later what our division does and what different departments we have. But I've been here at Seton Hall for 8 years, and I supervise the overall operations of the division, including business affairs, information systems, the Career Center, and student engagement. I also work on a couple of different university committees, including diversity, equity, and inclusion, and student success. And a fun fact about me is that I am from the San Francisco Bay Area. Are you frozen? Okay, you're back.
Sorry, I was frozen for just a minute, technology, but we can move right along. Dean Patel, do you want to introduce yourself as well?
Sure, thank you. Hi, everyone. My name is Hazel Patel. I am the Assistant Dean of the Center for Academic Success at Seton Hall University. The Center for Academic Success supports incoming students through advising for first-year students, through the University Life course, and with peer advisors who are upperclassmen undergraduate students. And we're really excited to bring in our new class. We are in the midst of meeting with each incoming student individually right now to help them create their schedule for the fall. And it's a really exciting time. I know how excited the students have been, and it's really just been a joy to work with them. So we look forward to having students come on board in the fall. Fun fact, since I know we have many parents and family members, I think maybe you'll appreciate this. I have 3 children, and all 3 are left-handed.
Wow, I didn't know that, Dean Patel. Thank you for sharing that. Next up, we have Dean Van Norman.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your evening to be with us tonight. We're so glad that you're here. I am the Associate Vice President and Dean of Students at the university. In addition to working with the people that you're meeting tonight, I also have the honor of working with a great group of folks in the variety of areas on campus, including the Dean of Students Office, Housing and Residence Life, Health Services, Counseling Services, Disability Support Services, and Housing and Residence Life. And did I mention Health Services? Yes, I think that's all of them. So yeah, so we're taking care of your student outside of the classroom. Fun fact about me, I've been at the university for 16 years, and I've known Colleen a long time. In fact, Colleen interviewed me when I applied to come to the Seton Hall University, and then we flipped roles, and I had the pleasure of hiring Colleen to come back as an employee many years later. So we've been in partnership for a long time. It's a nice symbiotic relationship. So Seton Hall is a great family in that way, and we're so glad to welcome you to be part of it.
It's truly it's a circle of life, Dean Van Norman.
It certainly is.
And next up, our final panelist and newest parent on this panel is Mr. Brandon Larmore. Brandon, can you introduce yourself?
Absolutely. Good evening, everyone. My name is Brandon Larmore. I'm the director of RISE here at Seton Hall University. This is our program out of the Student Support Services federal grant where we serve first-generation low-income students with disabilities. We seek to help them do one thing, and that is graduate, and we are very good at what we do. So if your students are eligible for our program, we're happy to speak with them and serve them. And I'll keep this to a minimal number of fun facts about me. One, I was also a part of that interview for Dean Van Norman years and years ago. And two, during this meeting, I have the distinct privilege of having my son with me, who will be eating ever so often. So please ignore him if he tries to speak over me. He's quite chatty today.
Well, congratulations on your newest addition, and we're glad that he can also be on the panel of experts we have this evening for our parents and families. So a couple of quick notes. We would love to hear from the audience members. So those of you that are joining us, feel free to utilize the chat function. If you have questions for our panelists, we have some questions based on the feedback that we've received already from some of our previous programs, our colleagues over in admissions, from some of the feedback that you all have received at other programs. So we'll get started with a couple of questions, but we would love to hear from you and answer the questions that you have on your top of mind. So to kind of get us started, I have a question for all of our panelists. In thinking about the entire academic year and the upcoming semester, what are some things that each of you think parents and families should expect from their student during this time of transition to Seton Hall? Dr. Burnett, you want to kick us off?
Sure, absolutely. So I would definitely encourage parents and families to really become familiar with a couple of different things as you're thinking about the entire academic semester. And one is the university events calendar, and the second is the academic calendar. So the university events calendar really showcases events from all across campus. So from academic lectures to student engagement events, to special programming for diversity, equity, and inclusion as well. And the academic calendar really provides a roadmap for the semester. So it's really important to make sure that students, gather their syllabi from each course and mark down important dates like midterms and final exams. I always say, the more that you can plan beforehand, the better.
That's great advice. Thanks, Dr. Burnett.
Mm-hmm.
Dean Patel, do you have any thoughts on the matter?
Yes, sure. Just to kind of piggyback off of that, encourage your student to get familiar with all of the resources that are available to them on campus. You may receive panicked calls about, I don't know where my class is. I can't do this class. It's too hard. So please know that there's a multitude of resources on campus and plenty of people to support your student. And so if you're familiar with some of, the resources that are available, you'll be well equipped to direct them to those resources. You really can't help them if they can't find their class on campus. So you knowing who to direct them to will help them, and then encourage them to go and seek out that help rather than pick up the phone yourself. I know as a parent, it's very easy for us to jump in and say, I'll take care of that for you. But this is your child venturing into adulthood, and we have to let go of the reins a little bit.
Thanks, Dean Patel. Now, Dean Van Norman, you've seen many a year transpire at Seton Hall. Do you have any additional advice?
I think what both Dr. Burnett and Dean Patel have mentioned are great tips. I would add to that that in addition to supporting students, I think we've also at Seton Hall done a good job of supporting parents. So parents, I would encourage you to take the time to get familiar with our website. There is a plethora of information there right at your fingertips. So begin there. there is something that we call the Parent Toolkit. So if you just go to the university's website and just type Parent Toolkit into the search bar, it's going to take you to an incredibly easy to navigate place where you're going to find the answer to a lot of your questions and also your students' questions. And by having that information readily available to you, and thank you so much, Monica just dropped it into the chat box for you so you can find it even more easily. By having that information readily available to you, not only are you going to feel more comfortable and more at ease because you're going to know what's available on campus, it's going to be easier for you to encourage your student to take advantage, as Hazel just said, advantage of all the resources that are available on campus. So take the time, get familiar with what we have. I think it's really going to be reassuring to you to know how much is already available and in place for your students.
Thanks, Dean Van Norman. Brandon, is there anything else you wanted to add?
Everyone has made such great points so far, and just to kind of highlight them, encourage your students to interact with the university where they already are. There are enough social media handles that this university has to allow our students to connect with this campus. One of the things that your students may say is, I don't know what's going on campus. We have plenty of ways for them to figure that out, from the website to their peer advisors, to their mentors, to their academic advisors and at Hall students. We live exactly where the students are. We know what they're using. All they have to do is just be willing to show up.
Wow, these are really powerful pieces of advice. I feel like I should be taking notes as well. And I saw some folks raising their hands, and I appreciate there's questions coming through in the chat. Feel free to keep coming with those. One of the questions received, and I don't know if Dean Van Norman or Dr. Burnett, you could speak to this, was in regards to the summer program that's taking place in August. I know that I can talk a little bit about the engagement opportunities there, because I believe one of the questions was in regards to what should be happening or what is going to be happening. So just so I can start, if there's anything that I missed, please feel free to jump in. Just so folks are aware, there is a summer opportunity for students to participate. They can move into campus early. I believe the program's title is Jumpstart. Is that correct? Dr. Burnett, and those students are registering for one of several class options that fit into their major or program. They can move on to campus, and there are going to be opportunities for them to take the course during those few weeks before the semester begins. And then we will also have engagement opportunities. So between the residence hall assistants, their peer advisors, the Office of Student Engagement, and my team will be planning programs, activities for them to engage with in and outside of the classroom. Did I miss anything, or does anyone want to add anything to that?
Yeah, so it starts on August 9th, and I believe move-in for that program is on August 8th, right, Karen?
That's right.
And so we're working with the continuing education program to just create the curriculum for that. So once we have more information, your students will be able to apply for it and see if they would like to join us a little bit early, starting on August 9th.
Great, thanks. And we also, we will compile a list of just contacts and the presentation that we have today, and we'll make sure that we share this recording with everyone on the call as well. So if there's any pieces of information you want to come back to or revisit, feel free to utilize that. We'll be posting that on our YouTube channel, but we'll also email it to everyone. So the next question I have for our panelists, I'm going to ask actually Dr. Burnett and Dean Patel, if you would mind taking the lead on this one, is what types of things can we expect our students to participate in those first couple of weeks on campus? And maybe Dean Van Norman, you can also talk from the housing perspective for some of our residential students. Dean Patel, you want to kick us off?
Sure. So I think to highlight, the first major event that's going to happen is going to be convocation. And right after that is, we call it Blue Day. And it's all sorts of fun. It's like a carnival. So the students really get to meet each other. They get to meet the administrators and some faculty, peers. So it's really a great event to get everything kickstarted for the semester. Students should also expect to participate in various activities during those first few weeks. I know that through the University Life class, we do encourage students to become involved. I know there will be an involvement fair of some sorts where students can join different clubs, find out what they might be interested in. So we really do encourage that of our students. Students will also be encouraged to attend what we call ACE events. They're academic and cultural events that happen throughout the semester, but they will get to know what these are very early on in the semester. And I'm sure there's many more that I'm not thinking of right now.
You covered a lot, Hazel. Beginning, well, through now and through the start of classes, you're also going to receive some weekly updates from the student engagement team and other campus partners in the form of student newsletters that will go to your Seton Hall address. So a lot of the newsletters will cover, relevant information from upcoming events and introduce you to different resources as you start to transition. New Student Welcome Week, as Dean Patel said, will start August 26th through the 29th, and we'll have signature events like Blue Day and Convocation. Weeks of Welcome also kicks off at that time. And really, there's just so many ways to get connected on campus, from tours to hall hangouts to lawn games, movies, to exploring the neighborhood of South Orange as well. So going to local restaurants or hikes in South Mountain Reservation. We also have special programming called the First 56 Days, which recognizes the year that Seton Hall was established in 1856. So, we know that these first 6 to 8 weeks will really provide students ways to remain connected. So whether those be day trips to New York City or other local events. There's also some fun activities and educational programs. And then this year, we're also kicking off our special weekend programming series called Weekend, WKND. And this will highlight campus events throughout the year from Thursday through Sunday.
You guys do a better job explaining all these things than I do. I'd just leave and let you guys have a conversation. And just another note, and Dean Van Norman, jump in if I'm missing anything. Our office, the Office of Student Engagement, and really all the offices at Seton Hall, we work together to support the student on a holistic perspective. So Housing and Residence Life and the Office of Student Engagement are part of a cross-campus partnership where we're pulling programming together and centralizing the information, so then that way we can make sure that our students are informed, our campus partners are informed, and that these things are shared in a transparent way. So there are definitely things for students to do inside and outside of the residence halls. Is there anything else? Dean Van Norman, go ahead.
Yeah, the one thing I would say is somebody on this call is going to hear at some point in time from their student, I am so bored. There's nothing to do on campus. And the only thing I can offer to that is, if your student is sitting in their room waiting for a good time to come knocking on their door, they're going to be bored. But if they are willing to walk out of their room and, down to Bowen Cellar or out onto the green or over to Bethany Hall or over to Walsh Gym, they will find something happening. And as has already been said on this call, if you simply follow our social media or take a look at what's happening on the events calendar, they will know what's happening. And again, I encourage you, please help us help your student. You also can take a look right online on the events calendar. You can also follow our social media and you'll know what's happening. So if you happen to be that one person on this call tonight that gets that message, I'm so bored, there's nothing to do, you can reinforce what we're telling our students. Well, there actually is something to do. In fact, there's a lot to do. Have you checked out the events calendar? Are you following the social media? Why not try something new, something you haven't seen before? You might like it. And that's one of the things that's so great about college. You do get the chance to try things that you've never tried before. And all of our events are free. And if they're not free, they're incredibly low cost. So why not try something new? Thanks.
That is a great point. I know I always say this all the time to students. This is the only time in your life when you're going to get all of these services for free. So take advantage. I mean, I'm a huge fan of if it's free, it's for me. So I hope we all push that along. Now, there are a couple of questions that have come up in the chat, and I'd love to kind of throw out to all of you as panelists. It goes without saying that the last year has been different, challenging. We're all coming in from different experiences. Some of our students have not seen a normal year. I know all of us on this call keep having these conversations in a lot of the work that we do. We have almost 3 years of underclass students that have not seen a typical academic year from start to finish. So I'd love to hear your perspectives from your areas in how you think parents, families, and even students, if you're working on any initiatives to support those students transitioning back, keeping in mind that we're in a post-pandemic environment. I don't know if anybody wants to start.
Let me pick that up, because that's a conversation that we're having in almost every office, every meeting, every day. It would be foolish to pretend that after 18 months of pandemic, we can flip a switch and go back to normal like nothing ever happened. And none of us want to do that. That would be so disingenuous and so damaging. So there are a number of things. So first of all, in counseling services, we are really beefing up our services and paying special attention to the fact that, being quite honest, we know that we're going to be having a lot of our students, not only our incoming students, but a number of our continuing students coming to campus with some heightened levels of anxiety, some residual depression from having gone through the pandemic. And we have our staffing and our programming in place ready to deal with that. Our peer leaders, our RAs are also prepared to recognize a lot of the signs and the symptoms of that. We're going to be rolling out some training for the rest of our professional staff across campus to be able to appropriately recognize and refer students who are in distress for different reasons related to post-pandemic, again, anxiety and depression. We also need to make this a celebratory time. Too many of our students, again, not only our incoming freshmen, but also our sophomores who did not have a normal freshman year, they lost a lot. They lost traditions. They lost a lot of the normal celebratory events. So all of us, and I know Colleen, certainly in your area as well, but we've talked about we need to have events. We need to recreate some of the traditions that our students have lost. So I think our students will be seeing a lot of that on campus as well. Yeah, we're coming back to normal, but not, if that makes sense. And I think the fact that our university is very aware of that and very sensitized to that is good. You know, we are not just going back to 2019. This is in 2021, and we are very aware that it's post-pandemic, and that means something different.
I think in terms of academics, we're also in the process of rolling out a new academic advising model at the university, where we're providing additional support for our students, for our incoming students. And we're calling it, a 4-person success team, essentially. So the first person on that team is the student themselves. We want the student to really be able to have some ownership over their academic journey, really provide some individual responsibility, so to help them kind of grow along throughout their academic journey and give them the opportunity to really kind of meet with their academic advisor. The second person on that team is going to be their professional advisor in the Center for Academic Success, which Dean Patel oversees. And, they are the instructor in their ULife class. They are the person that is helping them right now with their registration. They know, your student very intimately in terms of their academics. So we really want them to grow that partnership. They'll be introduced to their faculty advisor as early as their first year as well. And then we also have their career center advisor that will help them. So it's a 4-person team. So we're really trying to provide a lot of support academically for them right when they get here.
I just wanted to add also the University Life class. This class is a 1-credit class that every single first-year student takes. And it really, we've redesigned the curriculum this year to allow for more interaction and engagement from the students and amongst themselves. And I do think that it's going to be a venue where students will be able to, you know, kind of, it's less like an academic class, and they will be able to be in an environment where they're comfortable and they can learn from each other, and they will have their instructor who is also going to be an additional support. So I do think that transitioning back, the university life will create that kind of group feel. And the students' peer advisors, of course, will help facilitate some of those smaller social activities with them. I know that it's going to be hard for many students who've been completely remote the past year to start to interact with others again. And so I think that we are allowing that to happen slowly. But then, as Dean Van Wormen said, you know, recognizing when students are not really into it, or they're not engaged, or we're noticing something, you know, that we need to be alerted to. I do think that the students' advisors and the university life instructors will be in tune to that to be able to intervene when necessary.
Yeah, and I was just going to add to that too. Part of the reason why we've reformatted the new student orientation program and are offering workshops like this one weekly, twice a week, weekly from now until the start of the semester is that we also recognize as a team that students need to kind of be re-onboarded to what to expect in the upcoming year. So these sessions, while we love having everyone here and love welcoming our first year student population, they're open to all students. We do have sessions that are coming up where we're partnering, like Dean Van Norman mentioned, with our counseling and psychological services, CAPS, our health services. Housing and Residence Life is hosting a workshop. And we'll connect you all with the complete listing of all of our workshops planned for this summer. So if there's other things that you know your student wants to get more information on, please feel free to share them. We are partnering with all of our campus partners to really make sure that the onboarding for our entire student population is equitable and that students have access to come to these sessions, ask questions, and get information that they need as they start their upcoming year, knowing that it's an onboarding for more than just our incoming class for a majority of our undergraduate students. So I'm going to take a little bit of a turn. I know that we kind of talked about this a little bit peripherally, but when parents or family members are concerned about their student, what are the signs that they should be looking out for in that first semester? And what should they do? Where should they go if you are concerned about your student? Dean Van Norman, I know you talked about counseling and psychological services, so I was wondering maybe could you take the lead on helping us understand what the Dean of Students Office does and how folks can look out for some of those signs?
There's no one size fits all. So let's begin with, you know your student best. So, okay, I'm going to try to fit a whole lot of advice into a small amount here. First of all, I'm going to encourage everybody to take a deep breath. Your students don't come to campus as a blank slate. So everything that you have ever taught them, every experience that you have ever given them, every value you have instilled in them, every faith that you have taught them, they bring all of that with them. So have confidence in that and know that they bring that to campus with them when they come. That said, if you feel that they are encountering something or dealing with something that that they can't handle, that is bigger than what they can handle, or that they are responding in a way that is unusual for them. And that's going to be different for every student. And again, you know them best. That's the time for you to reach out and let us know. And in terms of whom do you let know, that's why I again encourage you to be familiar with who we are, with what we do, and you can know that through the parent toolkit. When in doubt, please use the Dean of Students office. And that's our my office. I say that to our parents, I say that to our students. When you don't know where else to go, use us. If we're not the right office, if we don't know the right answer, one thing we're very good about is finding the right office and finding the right answer, and we are happy to fill that role. When it comes to counseling and psychological services, you should know that when a student is working with counseling, that is a confidential arrangement. That said, you still can call CAPS and they can speak with you in general terms. They can't disclose to you anything if they are working with your student, unless your student gives them permission. But that said, you can still reach out to them for information, for advice, and you can let them know that you are concerned, and then we can take it from there. Health services is similar, and then more. In addition to that, we have an interdisciplinary team that also works on campus that takes health services, counseling, my office, disability support services, housing and residence life, a number of offices, and we will work together to put together a success plan for a student, an intervention plan if necessary. So again, anytime that you encounter something with your student that you feel is out of the ordinary, bigger than they can handle, your gut tells you that they're not responding in the way that you think they could or should, just reach out to us and let us know. That said, remember that college is a time where you want to let go. You want to give them a chance to develop those life skills where they're doing more on their own. This is that unique opportunity, that only time in their life where you get to stand back a little bit and watch them develop the skills of self-advocacy and confidence and negotiation, those life skills that they will need as they go forward, that they're not going to be able to develop if you keep doing things for them. So this is the time to start to step back and let them step forward. But all of us working together, you, the university, and your student, we get it done pretty well. Thank you. I didn't mean to go on too long.
No, that's chock full of advice, Dean Van Norman. I feel like we can take that to the bank, cash it in. I wonder, and I'd love to hear from Brandon or Hazel, if you have any ideas from the academic side. I know Dean Van Norman talked a lot about from that behavioral side and the health and wellness side. If parents or family members are concerned about their student, or their student has concerns academically, what's some advice that you would give them in helping to support their student during that time?
I can definitely speak to this point. One of the things that I wanted to kind of bounce off of Dean Van Norman's point was that it's okay to be concerned about your student, but at the same time, we do want to give them the opportunity to flourish. College is definitely one of the greatest opportunities any student can engage in, but we have to give them that opportunity, that space. And I sit there with this little baby in my hand right now and thinking about like, well, I don't want anyone else to take care of him but me. But at the same time, when you send your child to Seton Hall, think about the entire team that is there dedicated to their success, from their peer advisors to their advisor in CAS, to their academic advisor in their major department, to their career center advisor. To all the different clubs and organizations that are out there, there are so many people who are dedicated to making sure that your student is successful. Now, if there's an issue or if there's something that does come up, especially on the academic side, Seton Hall has in place a ton of support resources from various programs, different services that we have, from the Academic Resource Center, the Math Learning Lab. Um, there are a bunch of GAs that hold tutoring hours in various departments. We recognize that college can be difficult, but it is not something that you have to do on your own. There are very few things that you have to do on your own at this university. You have to walk across that stage and receive that diploma, and you have to take your tests on your own. Everything else, as you prepare for your exams, as you look towards the future, as you make these important life decisions, you do not have to do them on your own. So all of your students should be comforted by that fact, and we hope all of you are also comforted by that fact that they do have the support in a variety of places for them to get to. And if they're not so willing to receive this report, we do have a ton of early warning systems in place via our Compass system to where professors can let the advisors and their success team know that they may not be performing as needed in that class, so we can make those interventions.
I absolutely agree with that. There's tons of support for the students at Seton Hall. I think one of the things that we can pride ourselves on is we meet the student where they're at. Not everybody is the same, and not everybody needs the same type of support. So between their advisor, their peer advisor, everybody in the student services area, absolutely, they're surrounded by support. And just going back to what I said earlier, knowing all of the resources that are available to the students. Brandon mentioned the Academic Resource Center, integral for first-year students to start getting involved. This is where tutoring and study skills happens. And so if they feel like the academics are going to be challenging or it's different at college, they should get connected with a tutor right away. And Brandon also mentioned the early alert. We really do intervene when we get those alerts. We don't just sit on them. And we make sure that the student is getting the services that they need. So I do think that there's a lot of support, both, in terms of their wellness, but also academically.
Thank you. And I know, believe it or not, we are getting right up on our time. The time just flies when you're having great conversation. And I think that what Dean Patel, Dean Van Norman, Brandon, and Dr. Burnett also have really emphasized in what I'm hearing is that a lot of these services and support structures are there, and it's helpful for us to know that we can partner with you as a family member and as a parent, as a support person, because sometimes we say this to students, but it might not be heard. And if we are all there to support one another and connecting students to these resources, it's going to help everyone to have the best experience that they can. Now, I know we're getting close on time, so I just have about 2 more questions for our panelists. In the chat, we have a couple of questions centering around pandemic and the university's protocols, and we happen to also have 2 members on this panel from our health intervention and communication team. And so I'm going to turn to those 2 panelists and ask if you could just give a brief overview of what HICT is and how the university is planning or has kind of pivoted in this pandemic to make sure the health and safety of our community members is paramount. Dr. Burnett, you want to start?
Sure. So HICT stands for Health Intervention Communication Team. And ever since the pandemic started, our team has been meeting weekly, sometimes twice a week, to really talk about these health and safety protocols and how we can provide those guidelines for our students as they return back to campus. So we're happy to report that New Jersey is trending in a very positive direction. As you know, 70% of adults already have been vaccinated. We've also done a number of different internal polls as well. And of the faculty and staff and students that have taken the poll, we have over 90% of students, faculty, and staff say they're either vaccinated, have at least 1 dose, or are planning to get vaccinated. So we do have a lot of systems in place to be able to have people declare when they sign into our system, whether or not they have met those parameters. So we are really following much of the state guidance from New Jersey on what that means as we reopen at Seton Hall's campus too. So I'll drop into the chat our HICT website, which will have all of the notifications, all of the emails that we've sent to the community. We send weekly emails to our university community every Thursday with updates as well. So it's important for community members to read those, specifically students, to check their Seton Hall email to read those, because it really has important guidelines about what it means for classes, what it means for student engagement. But we are planning to open fully in the fall. Karen, did I miss anything?
Not at all. I mean, it's been a long 18 months, but looking back on it, I can honestly say I'm very proud of the work that we did. We came through it really well. We did not, we were able to stay open. We were a safe campus. Our students were fantastic in terms of how they responded. They stuck to the Seton Hall pledge, and we did well, and we are looking forward to the fall.
Well, thank you both for your leadership on that committee as well. We, as a whole community, appreciate that. So, okay, we have time for one more question, and this is something I'm going to ask all of our panelists. If you had one piece of advice before we go into our key takeaways and just some important contacts to give to the parents and family members on this call, some of which may be experiencing Seton Hall for the first time, sending their first student away to college, what would that advice be? Anybody can jump in.
I'll jump in.
Okay.
I think Dean Van Norman said it best a little bit ago. This is your time to let them step forward and for you to step back. I think I'm going to quote that all the time now, because that's exactly how I would describe that first year transition. Be supportive. You can still be supportive as a parent, but encourage your student to find their own way. And you'd be surprised at how much they can do on their own. I often hear stories of students who went home during Thanksgiving, and you get a call from mom saying, wow, he's grown so much. And that happens, right? They learn to do things on their own if we all let them. And just please, take solace in that there are people at Seton Hall who will help them. So all you can do is be supportive and encouraging.
I would also just like to echo that, we know that this past year and a half has been very difficult for everybody, I think academically, but also socially. And I think it's going to take a little bit of time for students to really be comfortable, making new friends and meeting new people and trying new things. And just know that it might be a little bit bumpy in the beginning. It might be that they are still feeling a little bit isolated, that they just don't know how to reach out, to a brand new environment and a brand new campus. But that's where I would say, encourage them as much as possible to ask for help. We have all of these resources here. It might not be easy, but really encourage them to try to ask for help on their own and really get connected, find their place here. What I love about Seton Hall is that when we ask students, what they love about it, they always say, it feels like a home away from home. It feels like, this is a family, and we really truly feel like that. And we want our students to feel that as well. So encourage them to get engaged, to go to something fun on campus that they might not, have tried before, and they will make the most out of it.
Something that I can definitely say is, especially as a Seton Hall dual graduate similar to Colleen, it's okay not to know. You don't have to show up to this space and expect to know everything, exactly what you're going to get into, exactly how you're going to finish. It's okay to have questions. It's okay not to know. It's okay to come in as a pseudo blank slate and just experience this place. But what we do ask is that you encourage your students to experience. Try different clubs. Seton Hall does offers some great opportunities in terms of, at some point, everyone's getting a free t-shirt. At some point, everyone's getting free food. We feed you, we clothe you. Could we be more Catholic? But we really do want to make sure that your students know that it is okay to come here and just experience things, and we will help guide them along that path.
I think the last piece of advice that I would share tonight would be, to the parents and families who are with us, would be to take advantage of the weeks that you have left between now and the end of August. This is an invaluable time to spend with your sons and daughters, to have those special conversations. Take nothing for granted. If they don't know how to do laundry and they're going to live on campus, teach them to do laundry. That's important. But it's also important that they know how much you believe in them, that they know how much of an investment you are making in their college, not only the financial, but the emotional, the faith that you have in them, and that you know that it's worth it. So they're coming here with your full support. That will mean so much to them. Have the conversation with them around, what your values are and what your hopes are for them. Have all those conversations. Even when they're not listening, they are
affected.
So definitely have those conversations. You won't get this chance again. So go for it every chance that you can.
That has been, I mean, I feel like I just learned so many things in the last couple of moments. So thank you. I want to first say thank you to all of our panelists. Thank you so much, Dean Patel, Dean Van Norman, Mr. Larmore, Dr. Burnett. We really appreciate each of you providing your insight and your guidance. I don't think I could even think of any more advice other than these gold gems that you just dropped on our whole audience. We did outline some takeaways as well. And Olivia, whenever you have a chance to kind of bring up the last couple of slides, we wanted to outline in the chat. You'll notice we connected you with some resources. Specifically, again, I'm going to plug that parent toolkit that Dean Van Norman, Dr. Burnett mentioned. That is a plethora of resources for you to kind of get familiar with. We'll also make sure that we include that in a link in our follow-up email. But we want to also make sure all of you know that we are here. Part of the reason why all of us got into this position, why all of us are in the Division of Student Services, is to do that, is to serve your students and to make sure that they have the best experience they possibly can. We are no more than a question away from your student just saying, hey, I need help, or I don't know where to go. So we can go ahead, Olivia, to the next slide. We wanted to just outline some of the same points that we mentioned today. Is obviously there's no journey that is going to be entirely smooth sailing. We recognize that your students are going to come. We're hoping that our answers today could help you anticipate what some of those challenges are and provide you with an opportunity to get more knowledgeable about the resources that we have. We also just wanted to let you know, as in kind of summary, that your role as a parent, as a support person, is really to be there for your student, to provide guidance and advice. But we encourage you to allow your student to figure out, how to handle situations on their own. Ask questions to your students. Sometimes that's really all the emotional support that they need to know, observe, and give your students the chance to solve those problems, but also know that your student is taking this time to grow and develop, and we are here as a support team for them through that growth and development as well. And if you are concerned, like Dean Van Norman mentioned, I'm not going to direct everyone to the Dean of Students office. I feel like Dean Van Norman would not like me if I did that, but we are all here to support you and to support your student, and we will include our contact information in the chat at the end of this presentation. But here are some of the quick departments, we can keep going, Olivia, that we mentioned. So we have the phone numbers. If anyone has a mobile device, you can feel free to take a quick screenshot of this. We'll also send this out to all of you as a PDF after today's presentation. The Dean of Students office and their phone number, Counseling and Psychological Services, Health Services, our Housing and Residence Life, as well as their email address. In the next slide, you'll also see we included financial aid, our Center for Academic Success, which is where Dean Patel leads that team, as well as our Academic Resource Center. If you have a mobile device and you feel like you'd like to, we also included a link directly in the presentation to our department directory. So there are a lot of departments we didn't necessarily talk about on today's call, but that doesn't mean that they're not there also to serve your student. Feel free to utilize that link to look up the other services. If you have questions about something or want to connect with anyone, we are continuing as a university to be open over the summer, and we're happy and willing to be here and field any questions that you might have. And then on our last slide, as promised, if you are looking for more workshops, we have additional workshops running weekly starting now, Monday and Wednesday, every Monday and Wednesday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. If you're looking for a complete calendar of what those events look like, or you'd like to sign up for some of the additional workshops or have your student sign up for some of these workshops, feel free to scan or go directly to the link. Again, we'll include this in your email after today's event, but this is a complete list of our virtual resources being offered this summer, and it will continue to get updated. We do have sessions on our academic support services, as well as our housing and residence life, and some other sessions that are specific to our student populations as well. So without further ado, I just want to say thank you again to all of our panelists. Thank you to all of you that are tuning in and joining us this evening. We couldn't do it without all of you together as a team. Welcome you and your students to the Seton Hall family, and thank you again. I hope you all have a phenomenal evening, and most importantly, go Pirates. Have a great night, everybody. Thanks again.